Time for the Mayo Jam. Hello and welcome to the Mayo Jam Podcast. I'm Shruti Bhola from the batch of 1999, voice actor, podcaster, audio writer and director. Before we get started on today's episode, have you registered for the Mayo Summit yet? It's happening on 1st April, Saturday, 3 p.m. onwards at the Grand Vasant Kunj, New Delhi. To register for the event, all you have to do is download the app, search for Mayo Alumni, MayoAlumni. Alternatively, you can also email at secretary@mayoalumni.in. And now let me tell you about today's episode. Today we're going to discuss money. Right. Come March and we all become hyper aware of our finances, don't we? Whether it's investments and especially taxes. So the Mayo Podcast team thought, hey, let's get a money coach in. So we reached out to Kavita Dhamani. Many of you will remember her better as Kavita Rawat from batch of 1999. Kavita Dhamani is a chartered accountant and a certified money coach from the Money Coaching Institute in USA, which is a pioneer in the field of behavioral money coaching globally. She's also a qualified personal finance professional and a seasoned investment professional with a close to 2 decades of experience in financial service industry. Her unique, diverse background in investments includes investment research, analysis and reporting, investments management, investment directing, business liaising, new product development and launch, and in fact, Kavita currently heads the investment reporting and analytics for the Indian operations of Guardian Life, a US-based leading insurance player. The Money Coach is Kavita's passion project, wherein she's on a mission to empower people to take control of their financial well-being. So let's welcome Kavita Dhamani. Hi Kavita, what's up?
Hi, Shruti. I'm great and good to hear you.
I know, but I cannot believe that you in such a serious career and like directing their money needs and everything. All I remember is Kavita Rawat from my batch, and that's how I recall you. So it is strange and yet like so good to talk to you in this capacity today. So yay!
Thank you so much. And I'm flattered, especially coming from you.
Oh.
And likewise, all I can, talking to you, I don't feel like I'm talking in the capacity that I am, but it only reminds me of the fun times that we've had together.
At least you're doing justice to all the padhai that you did in Mayo, so which is excellent. So listen, I logged into your website after we spoke and after we all, the podcast team decided to have you on board for an episode. So the moment I logged into it, the opening image itself was proof that we must, converse with you today. So just for the benefit of the ones who are listening in, this is what the opening image said. Are you struggling with managing your money and personal finances? Are you using your money efficiently to create the life that you dreamed of? Are you able to plan money for the future of your loved ones? Are your finances well planned to take a shock of any unexpected events? Or are you still stuck with the notion that you will do all this only when you have a lot of money? I was reading this and going, check. Kavita, now please help us. What do we do if all these questions somebody is reading and going, हाँ यार मुझे भी मदद चाहिए. So I think this is the direction we will have to take in today's episode and like discuss all these things with you. So are you game for it? Are you ready to guide us?
Absolutely. Like, this is my passion. I mean, this is not my career, but this is my passion, and I'm totally game for it.
In fact, that's where I want to begin from. That how did you actually become a money coach? So tell me about your life story. How did you come to be a money coach? What happened?
Sure, Shruti. So as you know, as I was studying to become a chartered accountant.
Right.
And I did become a chartered accountant, and I started my career in investments, which was very intriguing to me at that point. I obviously did my initial taxation and all of that bit as a chartered accountant.
Right.
It's now close to 2 decades since I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And I've played various roles in the investments world. I continue to do so at the moment also.
Yeah.
So my primary career or my career, so to say, is in the investments world, where I work with a lot of, on the institutional side, with sophisticated portfolio managers and, do a lot of research on that side and all of that.
Right.
And while I was doing that, I was just thinking and looking around myself that there was a dire contrast that I would see.
Mm-hmm.
and one end, there are all of these sophisticated investment decisions being made. I'm doing in all of these research and all on companies and countries and macro and all of that.
Wow.
And when I'm looking around myself, whether it is friends, family, people are just not making good money decisions. When it was coming to personal finances, managing your own money, I mean, including me, to be honest, I mean, I'm coming from a Marwari business family.
Yeah.
But as kids, we were somehow kept away from money conversations in the family.
Yeah.
It was always like, okay, they're your kids. You don't need to know about this. Of course, everything was taken care of, everything was provided for, but you don't need to know. So when it came to managing that part of my money, I was honestly equally as bad as everybody else.
Correct. Yeah.
Except for maybe a few things that people were not able to missell to me. There's a lot of misselling that happens,
Right.
So yeah, because I could run these numbers and I could do these research and sometimes even create big models,
Right.
and decide on whether an investment is a good one or not. That's where I was protected. But yeah, more than that, not really. So it just took a while for me to decide, and for myself, that it cannot be that it is so difficult to break this whole jigsaw puzzle. But there was not information available at our times.
Yeah.
It's a different scenario now. It's information overload, so which is a different challenge altogether. But what we see is we're never taught about money.
Correct.
Not in school, not in college, not in professional courses. Even if you do finance professional courses, you're not taught how to handle your own money. And that was something that really took me on a different journey. That journey was transformative for myself. Understood money at very different levels.
Yeah.
Also, in the process, landed up doing a few courses, landed up working with a lot of global gurus who talk about money and finances, following them, understanding those theories, and eventually created a system, a model for myself to follow. And I can now today proudly say that I am financially free. When we talk about, financial freedom, something which is the most sought after word or the fancy word.
Correct. Yes.
Despite being a chartered accountant, despite being in the investment world,
Yeah.
From being completely not aware of what to do with the money, took that journey, settled it for myself. And also, like I said, I've always seen that contrast of, how people around me are not doing it well. And it's not their fault, because there is not much help available on this front.
Correct. So you're saying there is hope for us also, people, who maybe have money, who figured out how to earn money, but don't know how to safeguard that money or make that money work for ourselves. How to be money wise, so as to say. Very nicely how you said freedom with money. So that's a very interesting approach to it. When it comes to money, and especially right now when we're discussing, like, the reason we got you on also, like, Arey, March hai, financial year end is there, that responsibility is there, everybody's thinking about it. I want a very practical answer from you. Are there any quick solutions to having or to saving taxes? Is there a magic mantra that we can follow? Is this a question you get a lot, and is there a set answer for it?
Well, to begin with, firstly, March, the focus on March. Yes. Honestly, it shouldn't even be relevant. March shouldn't be relevant. It's just one of those things that, okay, March, books close and financial year ends, and okay, we know we need to just get, as a hygiene factor, we need to get what needs to be done by that timeline, but not otherwise. And then coming to saving taxes, ideally, should be a byproduct. Not the end objective. What happens is, for the people who are selling financial products, a lot of them are there, of course. It's like the busiest time, because that's when people are just buying all of these products, saving taxes. And yes, if you talk about a magic mantra, there are, of course, a lot of avenues to save taxes. There are ways in which you can save taxes, whether by making investments, by making certain expenses. I can go on about that. But what's really important to understand here is that ultimately, if you make an investment or maybe make a donation, what is the ultimate objective? What you think the ultimate objective is to save tax, but how is it serving any purpose for you? Right. For instance, if you, let's say, save tax on, and to save tax, you put funds in your FD, 5 years lock-in period, and you actually land up needing those funds maybe 2 years later. You will have to withdraw the funds. The tax saving will go away, and the FD will not give you, even the returns that you would have got for 5 years. Not to comment whether those are good or bad, but
so you're saying that it's not a thought out decision then. We try and take these very quick fix approach to something, in the long run actually lands up harming us more than actually helping us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like asking Google Maps, telling Google Maps that, I want the best route, which saves me time, without specifying your destination.
Nicely put. Very nice.
The interesting thing, Shruti, here is to understand that a lot of people don't even, that's one thing is about knowing your destination.
True.
But more interestingly, a lot of people don't even know what is their current location when it comes to their money and personal finances.
Yeah.
So it's really like they don't know where do they really stand. And don't get me wrong, they might have a notion about their current position.
Yeah.
But in a lot of cases, that notion is far from reality. And it could be on either side, So some people may actually have a lot of financial resources, but in their head, they think they don't, for anything for that matter, whether it is your personal finances or anything. If you want to get somewhere, you first need to know where do you stand.
Correct.
What is your current standing? And when you talk about your current standing, sources of income is one thing, but that's not everything, because here we are talking about wealth in a broader sense, not just income.
Right.
When we talk about destination, what is a destination? Now, we could talk about financial goals being our destinations. And of course, through our life, we will have multiple financial goals. Your entire life put together is one journey. So those financial goals are going to be your milestones. Now, the whole thing is, without getting into, any more jargon than that, as simply put, taking a holiday, buying a phone, your children's education, your own something, whatever it is, you need to have money for it.
Correct.
And you need to plan for that money.
Yeah.
That's very simply put, financial goal is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at our life, every individual and every family is unique. And, their circumstances, preference, values, and the way they wish to live their life is very unique to them.
True.
For instance, the way Shruti would live her life and would want to, spend on her life, like the things that she would want to spend, or, the whatever would be very different from maybe what Kavita would want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you were to ask each of them what would a good life look like for them, they will have a certain vision for their own life.
True.
Ultimately, the job for your money is to enable you to live that life,
right,
that you find fulfilling, that is meaningful to you, and it is in alignment with your values. Right. So you as an individual or as a family, because, that's the structure that we're talking about.
Correct.
Now, coming to the destination, free and the location where we are right now, those are the two. Unless we have those two, you can't find a route.
Correct.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yes. Practically, we need to know what are our sources of income. And here, let me say sources of cash flow.
Okay.
Because in a lot of cases, people are not earning. But does that mean that people who are not earning do not need to manage their money?
Correct. Very valid.
Of course not.
Yep.
Managing your money is as essential to breathing.
Right.
It's required. Like if you're alive, you need to do it.
Correct.
It's an essential skill. Managing money is a skill set which is essential and can be acquired, and each one needs to do that.
Right.
Because no matter what, you can't escape handling money, right?
Yeah.
You can't escape dealing with money.
Correct.
So again, coming back to that point, it's, assessing what are your sources of cash flow or funds.
Right.
Basically, what are those things which will enable you, to meet those financial goals going forward in your life?
Right.
If I have to put in a very, very simple way, if you look at the cash inflow and cash outflow today, are you in a deficit position or a surplus position? Is it a plus or a minus?
Correct. That helps.
Right.
Because these practical examples, it gives me clarity to what questions to ask myself to get that vision towards my goal. So like you said right now, that if I'm standing here and if this is how much money I will need to go on that holiday, today are my cash resources. Am I able to do that, or will I not be able to do that? And if I want to be able to do that, how do I make it happen? I'm assuming like just as a step one.
I love the last thing that you said, because when you started out, I was just going to correct you, but you finished beautifully. That the question should not be, am I able to do that or am I not able to do that? The question we ask ourselves should be, how do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I make it possible?
Yeah.
Because, and another important thing to understand here, while it may seem like, this whole managing money, we need to learn some strategies and, and all of those cool ways of, doing things and, taking those decisions.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it is.
Are you serious?
It's very simple.
It's not?
Yeah.
You mean
it's not?
How is that possible?
Well, can I remind you that in my professional life, all those fancy things, the jargons, and that's what I do. I live, breathe, eat that.
Yeah.
I was still managing my money, right?
Yeah, correct.
Because the two are different.
Yeah, very true.
And actually, it's so simple that we tend to ignore, the simplest things in life.
Correct.
And the other aspect is that the whole strategies bit is probably, of course, you need to learn the strategies. I wouldn't say you need to know all of those high fundu things. You definitely do need to be a little disciplined about doing things. Right. Things are simple, but yes, you need to follow a discipline. That's what I would say. Right. The other important part, and this whole strategy and understanding and, learning, all of that is about 5% of it all.
Okay.
The 95% is your subconsciously driven behaviors, your conditioning, what you can call your money mindset.
Right.
Those are behaviors and patterns which are, ingrained in your subconscious mind. Probably in your very, very early years, growing up here, it's normally said by the time a child turns 7, the mindset is formed.
Right. And
those are the behaviors which are driving your decisions about managing money, not managing. Remember, the decision to not manage your money is also a decision.
Correct. Yes.
So a lot of people who shy away from managing their money for, and they can give whatever reason, the underlying is that there are some beliefs in their subconscious which are prohibiting or are inhibiting them from doing
You're right. Because I've met so many people, and most often the most common excuse I get is, hey, I'm not from a commerce background now, so I don't understand money the way you do. And I'm immediately like, arey, lekin paise to sabke paas hai na. Everyone has to know how to be able to manage their money. So you're absolutely right when you're saying that all these things, it changes, it comes from somewhere deeper than just when what we've studied about or whatnot. So please take us deeper into this. What are these changes that we can make with our attitude towards money? Where do we begin? How do we get started on changing?
It's a combination of, your strategies and your mindset habits. They go hand in hand.
Right.
To begin with, first thing is awareness again. First, as we spoke about awareness of our current financial situation, similarly, awareness of our current thoughts about money. What is the question to ask, or the question that I would ask you is, what is your relationship with money? And to a lot of people, that may sound strange. I mean, do you even have a relationship with money? And yes, you do.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Correct.
And, it is that relationship with money that you have, which is actually going to drive your financial life. It is going to reflect in your, life as your outcomes.
Another thing which I very often hear people bragging about almost is, oh, I get money, but money never stays with me. I'll end up spending everything too quickly. Right? So that, in my mind, is a relationship with money. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, for example, if we go with that example and use this as a base to say, if a person is there who says my relationship with money is literally toxic, वैसे आते बाद में पहले खत्म हो जाते हैं. So now such a person, where do they need to go, or what should they target?
First thing to understand, first is that awareness that, okay, if there is a situation like that, then I need to, first look back at my habits and behaviors. Like, for instance, generally or widely said thing is that, does money grow on trees? If you just kind of understand where that's coming from a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't there be abundance? Who is restricting you?
Correct.
And, one thing, whether, again, relating to money or not, because, a lot of these subconscious things, what I'm talking about money also are, applicable to your other parts of your life.
Hmm.
Your subconscious mind is so powerful.
Hmm.
The moment you change the narrative, you will start seeing wonders.
Right.
That's the simplest way of, changing any habit that I can tell you.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I don't want to make it sound like it's like this,
Hmm.
because in some cases, these beliefs are so deeply ingrained that there is a lot of work required to be done.
Right.
There are two sets of ways of dealing with it. Like I said, in certain cases, you can just say, okay, for this, instead think this.
Hmm.
And sometimes it can work. Many times it can work.
For
But for some of
example,
the deep rooted, if you think money is evil,
yeah.
we would have heard things like, if you're growing, if somebody is rich,
Hmm.
they might have definitely, stepped on people's toes to get there.
Hmm.
So there's that negative connotation, or good people don't talk about money.
Hmm.
So there's that negative connotation with money.
Right.
Now, just to explain that, I'm sure everybody loves money. Everybody wants more of it.
Hmm.
So, the moment you ask, what's your relationship with money? Instantly, I think everybody will say, I love it. Except for people who believe in, okay, money is not so good, you shouldn't love it. There are those category of people also, right? But in general, if people are saying we love money, but at the same time, if you have a conflict, such as money is evil, or, be quiet about your money, don't let people know about it. If somebody has money, somebody else has more money, then they must have kuch to galat kiya hoga. So you see how there is, in your conscious mind, you are giving a direction that I want more money, I want to earn more, I want to create more wealth. But in your subconscious mind, you have these conflicting beliefs which are going to restrict you.
Right.
Because the job of your subconscious mind is to protect you.
Right.
Now, I can easily say that don't think money is evil. Just stop thinking that. But are you going to stop believing that at a deeper level? If yes, do that, make that shift. Some people are able to do that. Some people need to, need more deeper work to be done to unpack that belief. Sometimes it is some experiences. I mean, actually, how do you develop that money mindset?
Correct.
How do you develop these, it's because when you are born as a child, it's not like a DNA that you're born with. Yet you tend to carry a lot of your parents' beliefs. Parents or your environment is what I would say. And everything the child observes, mind you, observes, not what is told to the child.
Correct. They always learn with examples. So whatever you're doing versus what you're speaking is what they are absorbing. Correct.
Right. So they will grow up replicating what you're doing. And in some cases, they may become opposites of what you're doing if they hate what you're doing. That also happens. So either children imbibe what you do, or they are extreme opposites.
So then, how do we break this then? Are there any specific habits that, you can point out, which you can say that for any person's overall development, these are the things which are good. And this is where we can begin from. Forget so far what you have, whatever issues you have, one will deal with it. But is there like a set 2, 3, 5, 6 things that we can actually imbibe and do today to get better?
Yes, absolutely. And again, like I said, it has to be a combination of the strategies and the mindset, right? So let's begin with, some very simple, practical things that you can do.
Ready for it.
And that's something that everybody can do. I would say to begin with, start paying yourself first. And when I say pay yourself first, again, I'd go back to the not income, but cash flow reference that I need. So, whether you are earning or not, every person, there must be cash coming to you, or, money coming to you or your account in some way, which you utilize and spend. Whatever that amount is, make sure that you keep aside some part of it to prioritize yourself. Because normally what do we tend to do? When money comes to us, we think, oh, that is what I wanted to do. I had to pay bills. I had to pay, school fees. I had to pay my health. I have to, party. I have to buy this for myself. I mean, the most important aspect, that's taking care of you in your, your financial stability. That is the most important aspect. And that's what I'm referring to when I say pay yourself first. Keep aside, let's say about at least 10%. And that's just a reference number. There's no rule that it has to be 10%. If you can do more than 10%, great. If you feel like 10% is a struggle right now, start with 5, start with 7, start with 1% and grow. Make it to 3 and just go on with it. But keep that aside to make sure that, that money is going to be spent only for your financial stability, nothing else. Because, we are living in a world where consumerism is all around us. There's everybody wanting to sell you everything, wanting to make you believe that you deserve it all. Yes, you do. But more than everything else, what you really deserve is financial stability, a financially stress-free life for yourself and for your loved ones.
Very well said.
So that's the first one. So the second strategy I would say is not really strategy, but a must do for everybody is please go buy a health insurance if you don't have one already. Every single person, from the eldest person in your family to the newborn child, everybody needs a health insurance. And why that's almost like as good as having a strategy, for two reasons. One, it is going to save you a lot of money in many years. Insurance is basically just protecting yourself against any unforeseen situations.
Correct.
When I talk about insurance, it's basically protecting yourself financially. So a lot of people I have come across strangely have notions that we are fit, we won't fall ill.
We are going to be healthy forever.
Forever.
we are going to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And then there are other set of people who feel like, why do we want to think about I may get unhealthy, and provide for it? But that's the whole idea. You need to, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. That's the underlying for insurance.
Yeah, I love that.
It can burn such a big hole in your pocket that it can just kind of put you off your entire life plan. God forbid that happens with any of us, but you never know.
Correct. On a lighter note, I must tell our audience right now that when I was catching up with Kavita after a really long time, right? And one of the first questions she asked me, is your voice insured? Like, that's literally one of the first questions she asked me. And it did get me thinking. And I was like, yes, interesting. Mine isn't. So now I'm taking it a lot more seriously because it sounds like something very bizarre. So it's very valid that you brought up that point, that even the smallest things can matter. And our mindset literally towards everything in life needs to change towards money. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I avoid giving, very like in terms of money, very personal examples. But, this calls for it. Like last week, my husband, for this whole month, he was unwell. He was hospitalized for 10 days, 9 days to be precise. Viral is what he had. Viral, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, somebody getting hospitalized for viral was insane.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting hospitalized for viral because we could not find beds. It was the third hospital where we found beds. But can anybody guess what the amount would have been, the bill?
For 9 days, it must have been exorbitant.
Right? Like how do you get treated for viral? Like you get some antibiotics and, of course, there's a room rent that you pay, but to the hospital.
Yeah. And random tests.
4.5 lakhs.
What?
Random tests.
What?
4.5 lakhs.
That's okay then.
It's insane. This is just a viral. So imagine if something else,
correct,
God forbid, had to happen.
Right.
And then coming to the third one is, please, very basic. Like I said, some of these things are extremely basic, but yet very important. Prepare a runaway folder for yourself.
That is sounding so interesting. A runaway folder. What is that?
Yes, that's what I call it. A runaway folder is basically, a folder, literally a physical folder. But, I also have, because in today's world, everything is physical and digital. So I like to also have a digital extension or a digital copy of it. What you should do is you have to have a physical folder where you keep your important documents, investment related documents, whether it is your property related documents, whether it is your some cards, locker related things. So all of those essential, and it is mind blowing to even think of what all those could be. One may take easily a month's time to put all of that together. But do that exercise. Please do it. Keep it, even if it is a digital version, some things are only digital nowadays. So still have a printout, be old school, have a printout, keep it there, keep a digital version as well. The whole idea is that if something was to happen, let's say if there was an earthquake, I live in Gurgaon, so it's an earthquake. Earthquakes are not very uncommon. If there was an earthquake and you had to run, you just have to pick up that one folder and run. And, all the essentials are there. That's one way of putting it. But also, let's say if something happens again, if something unfortunate happens, then somebody in your family, your spouse, your, whoever is the person who needs to know will find everything in one place.
Yeah. Correct.
Imagine when it's going to take you 1 month to put all of that together.
Which is your own.
If you're not around,
Exactly.
which is your own, if you're not around,
Yeah.
what a mess it will be for your loved ones to deal with it.
Correct. Very true. Very true. Wow. This is like, it's really making me pull up my socks and be serious about life, huh? Suddenly talking to you.
Absolutely. And that's what I also mean when I talk about your current, where do you stand today?
Yeah.
And lastly, the fourth strategy, and I think the 4 is more than enough. I thought I would give only 3. That should be, is again, have a power backup for yourself. And, it's I like to call it power backup, but in a more layman's term, it's have some emergency fund for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Flow of funds runs out for whatever reason. You may lose a job, you may meet with an accident for some time. Then you have something to fall back on so that your normal day-to-day life doesn't get disrupted.
Right. So what was interesting is a while back, you had mentioned that begin from 1% or make it to 2%, something. First, pay yourself, right? That's one thing that you had spoken about from your salary. So I keep now on social media and everything, you get so many of these fundas where people are telling you how to divide whatever cash flow is coming in what all zones, so that you're basically prepared in life for everything. And the pressure doesn't become only on one time कि सारा पैसा आया एक बार में ही सब saving में डाल दिया या सब कुछ आया and in one shot only you want to be emergency prepared and like just have all of it in emergency. Do you also have like a division as to how much or what percentage per month should one it doesn't matter whether your cash flow is like 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees, or maybe like 10 lakhs. Point is, what percentage of it should go where? Do you have like such a division?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, I do.
Yes.
It's interesting. This, I just thought that, due to, the format that we have, we won't have time to touch upon this, but I'm excited and I'm glad that you're already aware of something like this and you're following these social media influencers who are talking about these things. So that itself is great because, we all need to do it in some form or the other. We need to get that.
Feels great to be validated. Please tell me.
Absolutely. So yes, I like to call them money pots. Essentially 6 of them. So the numbers that I would say are only for reference. But yes, you do want to have one account where you are prioritizing your own financial stability or financial freedom.
Right.
And an ideal, or a reference point for that is a 10%. You do want to have another, money pot wherein you're putting in money for your day-to-day expenses, your day-to-day, ongoing, basically on yearly, monthly kind of expenses, which are recurring, 50-55%, depending, if you're living in metro, the expenses would be higher. And also depending on what stage of life you are, all of those things, so it has to be flexible. Correct. Another pot where you are going to put in for all the life journey that we talk about and the milestones that we want to achieve, the smaller destinations, the milestones on that life journey, which are your savings, and planning for something ahead. Like you said, you may want to take a holiday a year or 2 years down the line. Where are you going to put that money? So another, allocation goes into that. Again, another 10% is what could be a reference number. So it's always good to contribute for whatever you believe in. There's no rule again where you should contribute. So another 5 to 10% could be that. Then there always has to be an element of personal development. We as human beings are either learning or we are dying. I mean, we are decaying. Right. So if you don't improve or, become a better version of yourself, you start kind of stagnating. And so there should be an investment made in yourself. Now, what sort of learning? It's totally up to you. Again, it has to be in alignment with your values, your what you prioritize in life and what you enjoy in life and what you want to do. So another 10% there. So I've covered your financial freedom, your, day-to-day expenses, your destination or your financial goals, your contributions, your education, self-education. And the last and the most interesting one is your fun account or a fun money pot, which is that, in this whole process, we are so engrossed in meeting your goals, living life, doing this, doing that. We forget to have fun. 10% dedicatedly should go into that. And there is a rule for that. that pot, you have to spend it. You have to spend it every month. You can't save it.
I like that rule.
You have to have fun while you are on this journey. There's a community called FIRE. It stands FIRE, F-I-R-E, FIRE movement or FIRE community. It stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Creating the kind of income, passive income sources, so that at some point your day-to-day expenses can be taken care of by the passive income. That's very simply put is financial freedom. At the beginning I said I can now proudly say that I am financially free. And a lot of people think that becoming financially free means you need to have like a hell lot of money to be able to do that. No, that's not true. Financially free is the first step of wealth and abundance and way beyond. You simply saying I have passive income sources, so that today if I stop doing my job, my life will not get affected. My expenses, I will still continue to live the life that I'm living, because there's something that is going to take care of my expenses.
Yeah, but that's wonderful. But, the more I'm listening to you, it's very tough for me to, while I know that there is such a strong side of you, which will be very, very thoroughly professional. So I want to know now, on the lighter side of things, tell me, is there a question that you get asked professionally all the time, but which you absolutely hate regarding money management? And, you're listening to them asking you that question going, oh, this again, now I have to kind of rectify it or deal with it. What is that question?
You almost got there, but didn't ask, Shruti. So
did I? What is it? Tell me.
So you asked me about taxes is one of them. But the other one, and which is more often asked, is where should I invest?
Oh, nice.
Which stock?
Yeah.
Which mutual fund? Which investment will give me the highest return?
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I've done and I continue to do on my, career side, and it's a great, coffee table conversation to have. If somebody asks me that standalone question, can I or somebody else give you, any investment strategy or reply to that question? No, because it's simply, you have to understand that when we spoke about taxes, we spoke about your destination.
Correct.
Right. We spoke about your life being an entire journey where you have these milestones, which are your financial goals, and how you want to design your life in alignment with your preferences, your values.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. And money is just a tool we are using to enable us to do that.
Correct.
Now, ultimately, when you ask me what should I invest in, I need to know your destination. I need to know how much time you have to get there.
Correct.
Are you flexible on that time or not? What is your approach, that you would prefer to take? Like, can you take some risk on the way or not? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes maybe you're ready to take risks, but you can't afford to take risks. Then when all of this is answered, then comes tax efficiency. Yes. Correct. When deciding on some choices, then you will, if given if there's an apple to apple comparison on two investment, avenues, then, and one is more tax efficient, then go with that one.
Right.
But I mean, there are just so many of these things to be taken care of for, answering that question for an individual, that if somebody, whether it is me or somebody else who's answering that question for you, please be aware, please run away. Don't follow that advice.
I like that if somebody says they have an answer to this, run away. That's your best solution.
And also another thing to know is that, mutual funds, for instance, a lot of them give, or a lot of other asset classes give some great returns. Stock market, for that instance, has, historically given great returns. If you look over a period of time.
Right.
But have people made money? Have those many people made money? Why? Because you might still be invested in the same stock that made money. Some two people having the same knowledge may implement things differently. One person, when the stock market is falling, both of them know, they have studied. Here, the assumption is they know a basic thing, that when the markets are falling, you should buy.
Correct.
And I also assume that they have the resources to buy. Okay. So, but then when the markets actually start falling, will both of them buy? Maybe not. That's why you have people buying and selling in the market.
Correct.
Logically, market is falling, I need to buy. But if the mindset is, such that they have fear of, falling markets or something similar, I'm just simplifying it,
Right.
then irrespective of that knowledge, they are going to sell.
Yeah. So this actually comes back, and now I can understand why you kept emphasizing so much. Within the first 10 minutes, you were talking so much about overall mindset of what we have, our attitude towards money. That's so much more important than the action that we'll take. Our attitude towards that money needs to shift if it, towards a better mindset. So what is that mindset? There are many things which you've already specified, but to take it forward, is there anything else that you would like to add to that?
Job of our subconscious mind is to protect us.
Right.
But at the same time, what you have to also know is subconscious mind is also our emotional brain. When emotions run high, logic stops working. And that's the reason why the other person would not have taken the logical decision, because emotions are high when the market is falling.
Right.
And, something gets triggered, something in the past, something that he's seen gets triggered, he or she, gets triggered, and the emotions are very high. And again, like I said, this is applicable with everything, not just money. When you are too emotional, you generally don't take logical decisions. So, you need to, first of all, learn, simple techniques to do that. You can just step back and breathe, like a deep belly breathing. And how deeply those ingrained behaviors are for you, these techniques may or may not work.
Correct.
They may work, but if they don't, then again, you need to go to somebody who needs to, so in the money coaching, we learn how to work at a very deeper level with people in terms of, and take you through an entire journey, which is a self-explorating process actually for the person.
Right.
Which uncovers a lot of, first of all, a lot of our subconscious beliefs we are not even aware of.
Correct.
Because, like I said, in my conscious mind, I'll never think that I would want to, repel money.
Right.
But I have certain beliefs that I carry that I do, So that's just an example for somebody.
Right.
So yes, that's one thing. But more than anything else, the power of the subconscious mind is that once you focus on something and decide on doing something, you'll find a way.
Right.
And
that's true.
And, so the first thing is just decide on prioritizing your financial health. And mind you, I'm saying financial health, very specifically, I'm saying financial health because a lot of people may feel like, they have a lot of money and they're financially well off. So to say, but do not make a mistake by confusing your financial status with your financial health.
Right.
So somebody may have a great financial status and may still not have a great financial health, and vice versa.
Yeah. This reminds me of a friend of mine who used to constantly say, I live in a rich house, but I'm a poor person. Because this is what she meant. She had a lot of money, but she didn't know how to manage her money very well. So she used to live in a very, financial health poor way versus having a lot of money. So it's very nice that the way you've put it, that what one needs to actually do to it. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because, one needs to, and it's kudos to your friend that at least she acknowledged and understood that.
Yeah.
The awareness for anything is the first step to change.
Yeah.
What does being financially empowered mean in this sense when we talk about it? Somebody is in a state of being where they are making the most efficient use of your financial resources. Remember, we spoke about money being a tool, right? So you're using the most efficient use of your financial resources, and you are prepared to absorb any financial shock or financial loss.
Right.
Emergency fund, your insurances, protecting your money. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, this is interesting because I remember having that discussion with you. And now that you're talking about financial health, I'm reminded of the other thing you spoke about, which I thought we must talk today on, the Mayo Jam podcast, which is about financial abuse. So can you tell me that if, because before you spoke about it, it's a term I had never heard. And now that you're talking about financial health, it's also like the complete flip side of it is financial abuse, I would say. So how to identify it, how to fix it?
Absolutely. And you rightly said, Shruti, even I was not very much aware of it a few years back. But, when I got to know of it and I realized there's, in subtle ways, some of it is happening all around us. So, financial abuse basically means that somebody is in control of one's ability to acquire, use, or maintain, the way you are using your money or saving, or, how you're going to, what you're going to do with your money.
Right.
So somebody else is, controlling that power, and of course, controlling it in a negative way, like, misusing that power.
Right.
And taking decisions which are not in your favor, which are against you. So, and this is so, while somebody may feel like this may happen in very rare cases or some extreme cases, what I want to tell you is that very little things, in very subtle ways, it shows up all around us.
Yeah, it's very
something
prevalent.
as simple as something as simple as forcing somebody to account for every single expense that you have. Again, there's a positive side to it, positive way of doing it. There are some people who use expense managers and account for their expenses, and that's absolutely fine. But when there's a very thin line, and when that gets crossed, yes, it goes into the abusive side. Sometimes spending your money without your knowledge.
So I think it's important to just call it out over here. Everybody who's listening in, and everyone, all of us, everyone's educated from a very good school, went to really good colleges, and later has had the good fortune of being in the forefront of a lot of education. But you're absolutely right, because in not just 1, 2, I can easily count on my fingers more than 20 cases around me. And not just Mayo people, I just mean generally people around me, who, while they think that they are very, very progressive in terms of money, but I know for a fact that they are being controlled. And sometimes they also feel it, they're aware of it, they talk about it, but they've kind of just accepted it as a thing कि अरे but ऐसा ही होता है.
Exactly.
So you're absolutely right when you're saying that this is a prevalent thing in the society which is going on, and we don't need to change it overnight, but acknowledging is very important, because if we don't acknowledge it, we won't know how to fix it in the future. So you're very right on pointing it out.
Absolutely. And, I would just add to that, Shruti, that, in some cases, people, understand, call it out that this is happening, but this is the way it is. In some cases, people, like, we are so used to some certain things being a certain way, we don't even realize it's abusive.
Yeah, correct.
Like, it requires a third person to step out, who is outside of that situation, to point it out, and you may not even be accepting of it.
Correct.
Every individual needs to start taking charge of their own money and, personal finances, basically everything to do with and around money. You have to start taking your own financial decisions, or becoming actively involved in taking those decisions, because it's when you are not doing that, you are making yourself susceptible to that abuse.
Correct.
And I would again say that, don't get me wrong, not every time somebody will have wrong intentions. Not everybody has wrong intentions.
Correct.
But the point that you are putting, giving that power away to somebody else. Today, it could be your parents who are handling your money. Today, or your sibling or somebody else. And tomorrow, it could be your spouse or whoever it is. I'm not saying that we go with the primary doubt that somebody is intending to harm you. But the fact that you leave that decision in their hands, that's possible, one. Secondly, is that other person who you are, trusting with your decisions, is that person equipped enough to handle that, money for you?
Absolutely. And to add to that, self-responsibility. Because how can we say that we are grown up and adults if we are shunning that responsibility willingly? While somebody else might be handling it for you, that's great. But along with them, if you take responsibility, you and them together will be able to handle it a lot better. But to leave everything because we're not used to it, because we don't want to learn, because, hey, I don't want to take the responsibility, I think that's something that needs to be addressed as well.
Absolutely. And, there's one thing that I like to say when you spoke about us being adults. In most cases with money, when it comes to money, we are adults are only kids with money. Because we just pretend to be adults. We are never taught. There comes a day when we are adults and suddenly we need to know it all.
Yeah.
More so with men, because women can still shy away, but we just need to know it all. And then suddenly we say, oh, we are adults, we know what to do. But do we really know? So please go
Yeah.
make it a point to learn. It is something you can learn. Like I said, it's not rocket science.
Yes.
It's very, very simple. You have a greater reason and a purpose, much bigger purpose, which is larger than you. Because as you get transformed and you create, financially healthy and secure, abundant lives for yourself and your loved ones, you're going to raise children who are financially empowered. And you're going to become role models for those children to learn and get inspired from. And as you contribute like this, you are going to contribute in a big way to making this world a better place. Remember, money mindset is not something like a DNA they will inherit from you, but they will still inherit from you.
Correct.
But this is the most important legacy that you need to leave behind.
Wow. I'm feeling so amazing today having chatted with you about this. It's truly making me, look at things in my life and especially towards money, the perspective that I hold. And I think thank you so much, Kavita, for truly talking so nicely and candidly and yet in very detailed descriptions you gave of how one needs to look at money. So thank you so much for this, Prince. And if anyone else wants to reach out to you, is there an email ID or a website that they can connect with? Maybe you can share that with us.
So that's my website, kavitadhamani.com. And in terms of reaching out to me, my website does have my Insta handle or even a place where you can reach out to me. Contact us section.
Always good to begin with, hi, I'm a Mayoite. Begin with that and I think everything will be sorted.
Absolutely. And lastly, Shruti, there's one thing that I do want to give away if people want. One of the things that we spoke about was Runaway Folder. If somebody is interested and if somebody wants to have some, a ready reference for that, I can provide like a digital version of a document that they can fill in and keep for themselves.
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
I can give you a link to you, which you can add to the podcast.
Absolutely. Let's do that. So in the description, if you go over there, there will be a link. And now you'll know what to do with that link. Just click on it, go there, and you'll be able to fill out and you'll get all the details for this virtual folder. Runaway folder. I love that.
The Runaway Folder.
Yes.
So you have to have the physical one as well as a virtual one.
Wow, Kavita, this is fantastic. Now, on this note, thank you so much for actually making time in your busy schedule for us. And you're a very, very new mother also. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Because I know for a fact that this is going to be very, very useful for everyone who's been listening in.
Thank you for having me, Shruti. I have totally enjoyed this time. And this is something which is so close to my heart. I'm so passionate about that I can just go on forever. So I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. When it is Mayo, it's always special.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Mayo Girls Alumni Association. If you're a Mayoite and wish to participate, email us on mayocollegegirlsalumni@gmail.com.